Have you ever felt like something was watching you in the woods? Or heard whispers in an empty field? The countryside is peaceful until night falls. Today, we're diving deep into 5 terrifying countryside horror stories that are not just legends, they're true. And they'll make you think twice before your next rural getaway. When we think of horror, we often imagine haunted mansions, creepy urban legends, or abandoned asylums. But what if I told you that the scariest tales come from the quiet countryside? Each of these stories is based on real-life accounts witnessed by locals, investigated by authorities, and shrouded in mystery. From eerie Appalachian forests to remote farms in the English countryside, these tales remind us, isolation can be horrifying. Story number 1: The Phantom Lantern of Cold Creek. In the peaceful hills of Tennessee, where the mist clings to the earth and the cicadas hum like nature's lullaby, lies a nearly forgotten place called Cold Creek. What appears to be an idyllic patch of countryside hides a legend so terrifying that even the oldest residents speak of it in hushed tones. The story begins in 1912, with a man named Elijah Whitaker, a dedicated railway worker known for his punctuality and quiet disposition. Elijah was assigned to monitor a segment of the Cold Creek tracks that had a history of derailments and strange activity. Armed with a sturdy lantern and a logbook, Elijah ventured out one autumn evening to inspect the rails. The sun had dipped behind the trees, casting the land into an eerie twilight. Locals reported seeing Elijah's lantern glowing steadily in the distance, swinging rhythmically with each step. But hours passed, and Elijah never returned. A search party was formed, and they scoured the area until just before dawn. What they found sent shivers down their spines. Elijah's lantern lay shattered near the tracks, its metal frame twisted unnaturally. His logbook was open, the last words scribbled hastily. "It's following me." But Elijah's body was never found. Over the decades, rumors grew. Fishermen on the nearby river claimed to see a flickering light moving through the trees. No footsteps, no figure, just the unmistakable sway of a lantern. Some believed it was Elijah searching for a way home. Others insisted it was something darker that had claimed him. A group of teenagers, eager for a thrill, once followed the light one foggy night. Only one of them came back, hysterical and incoherent, rambling about glowing eyes in the dark and a voice that said, "He walks still." The town's sheriff investigated but found no trace of the others. Their vehicle was found parked neatly, keys still in the ignition. The survivor never spoke again, committed to a psychiatric ward in Nashville. Paranormal investigators took interest in the tale during the 1990s. One team, equipped with modern gear, camped near the tracks. They recorded a dim light pacing back and forth, vanishing whenever approached. EVP recordings caught unexplained murmurs. "Keep away," and "Mine now." Electronic devices often malfunctioned near the site. Batteries drained within minutes. Locals started avoiding the area after sundown. Even hunters refused to venture into Cold Creek woods, claiming the trees whispered when the wind was still. An old woman who lived nearby swore she saw Elijah once, standing by her window with an empty lantern, his face blank, his mouth moving though no sound came out. She moved away the next day. One priest tried to bless the area but collapsed mid-prayer, suffering a minor heart attack. His last words before being taken to the hospital, "It doesn't want peace." The town tried to cover the legend up, fearing tourism or panic, but the stories never stopped. Travelers who took wrong turns reported strange lights guiding them away, or deeper in. A photographer once captured a long exposure shot near the tracks. When developed, a shadowy figure holding a glowing object stood in the center, yet he swore he was alone. Elijah's descendants, ashamed or fearful, moved out of Tennessee entirely. His grave, placed symbolically despite his body never being recovered, is often found with fresh lantern oil spilled across it, though no one has been seen visiting. Every few years, someone disappears near Cold Creek. No screams, no struggles, just gone. The forest seems to swallow them whole. Rumors claim a pact was made long ago, a promise of silence and sacrifice. Whether it's Elijah trapped between worlds or something far more sinister using his image, no one can say for sure. The lantern still appears, usually on cold, windless nights, casting an unnatural glow that seems to bend time itself. Some say it's a warning to stay away. Others believe it's an invitation. Whatever the case, the light keeps swinging back and forth, waiting for someone to follow. Story number 2: The Screaming Fields of Norfolk, England. In the vast and misty fields of Norfolk, England, there's a haunting legend buried beneath the soil that stretches back to the 1800s. The region, known for its quiet farmland and gently rolling hills, holds a secret that the villagers speak of only when absolutely necessary. This is the tale of Margaret Bell, a young woman accused of witchcraft after her neighbor's crops failed mysteriously in 1823. She was a herbalist, nothing more, but fear ruled the hearts of the townsfolk. Without trial or proper justice, they tied her to a wooden post in the very center of the largest barley field and set her ablaze as punishment. Her screams echoed into the night, piercing and unrelenting, until the fire consumed her entirely. Her final words chilled all who heard them. "Your peace will never return." That year, the fields yielded nothing but rotted stalks and worms. Since that day, every year on the anniversary of her death, October 14th, locals report blood-curdling screams coming from the earth itself. The sound doesn't carry like a voice. It surrounds you, invades your bones, and makes your heart race uncontrollably. One farmer, Thomas Green, once tried to harvest his crops on that fateful night, thinking the story was mere folklore. His plow stopped abruptly as if hitting something solid beneath the soil. He bent down, only to find a charred human jawbone embedded in the dirt. The next morning he was gone. His wife claimed he had walked out into the field at dawn, staring at something invisible, and never came back. Search parties found his hat and boots near the post where Margaret had died. Every animal on his farm died mysteriously within the week. The villagers began placing wooden crosses at the field's edge, desperate to ward off whatever evil lingered. One family that moved in from London scoffed at the tale and camped near the field to prove it wrong. They recorded their experience, but the footage was bizarre. All they captured was static and screams, though the camera never malfunctioned before or after. Their tent was shredded, but they were unharmed, save for deep scratches on their backs that matched no known animal. In 1964, a group of university students came to document the legend. They conducted soil tests and EMF readings. Instruments picked up erratic electromagnetic pulses that spiked precisely at midnight. One student began screaming uncontrollably and collapsed. He later said he saw a woman's face emerging from the soil, her mouth wide open but her eyes weeping blood. He dropped out of school weeks later and disappeared. In recent years, drones flying over the field on October 14th malfunction mid-air and crash without explanation. No birds are seen flying over it on that day. Dogs bark wildly when approaching and refuse to go further. A documentary crew tried to spend 24 hours there in 2017, but abandoned the project after one crew member reportedly spoke in an unknown language for 3 hours before fainting. Psychics who visit claim the field is a spiritual sinkhole, where pain and rage fester eternally. One claimed she heard hundreds of voices screaming from below, not just one. Farmers near the property say crops grow strangely fast there, but are always bitter and inedible. A local priest attempted to bless the field but vomited blood minutes into his prayer. He called it a pit where God's voice does not reach. Some say the soil is cursed. Others believe Margaret Bell's spirit fused with the land itself, an unending cycle of agony. No one dares build on the property. Government surveys have left the field unzoned, listed as environmentally unstable. On quiet October nights, passers-by have reported hearing their names whispered from the breeze as they near the field. It's said that if you walk through it alone, you'll come back hearing the screams in your dreams forever. Generations have moved away from the area entirely. The field looks harmless, golden and sunlit by day, but its truth is rooted deep, soaked in centuries of sorrow and fire. And every October, the wind carries her curse again. They say Margaret still stands in the flames, screaming for justice, and the land itself won't rest until her story is heard. But will listening set her free, or awaken something worse? Story number 3: The Cursed Barn of Alberta, Canada. In the remote, windswept plains of Alberta, Canada, there stands a decaying red barn, hidden behind tall grass and tangled wheat fields. Weather-beaten and surrounded by silence, the structure seems forgotten by time, but those who live nearby know exactly why it's avoided. The barn once belonged to Jacob Baines, a cattle farmer who settled there in 1907, hoping for a quiet life. But almost immediately, strange things began to happen. His livestock refused to enter the barn. Those forced in would panic, thrash, and die within days. Neighbors reported hearing unnatural sounds, guttural growls, chains dragging, and something heavy moving across the roof late at night. Jacob, once a friendly man, became paranoid. He boarded up windows and scribbled strange symbols across the barn's doors. He claimed the barn was breathing at night. One day in 1912, he was found hanging inside it, his body mutilated beyond recognition. Authorities ruled it a suicide, but many noticed claw marks etched into the wood around him, too deep to be made by any tool. Since then, the barn has stood abandoned, but not silent. Every new owner has tried and failed to revive the property. Animals still die within days. One man attempted to convert the barn into a workshop. He was found unconscious with symbols carved into his chest. A local priest who came to bless the place left in a rage, claiming a voice called him by name and laughed when he prayed. Paranormal researchers brought advanced tech in the early 2000s. Cameras glitched, batteries drained, and audio picked up groans and sobbing. One recording captured a voice whispering, "He still feeds." Those who enter often emerge dazed, confused, or in tears, unable to explain why. One teenager entered on a dare and came back days later with fingernails torn off and eyes glazed over. He never spoke again. Drones flying over the barn sometimes crash inexplicably. Others show shadows moving inside, despite no one being present. Locals say the barn gets cold even in summer, with frost forming on its windows. Some believe it's cursed land. Others think Jacob performed a dark ritual before his death. One psychic fainted before even touching the door, muttering a gate was opened. Strange lights flicker inside at night, red and flickering like flames, though no fire is ever seen. Tools rust rapidly if left near it. Photographs taken of the barn often appear distorted, with faces or figures peering through the wood. The land around it grows weeds in perfect circles, and no birds perch on its roof. In 1987, a paranormal show filmed there. One crew member disappeared. The footage that survived captured a frame of him entering the barn, then a loud screech, then static. Locals warned them, but curiosity led them in. Since then, no one stays past sundown. The barn has been nicknamed the Devil's Workshop, and the nickname stuck. People claim to hear chanting inside, even from a distance. Some say Jacob is still inside, his soul twisted by something he couldn't contain. Whatever resides there doesn't want to leave, and doesn't want you to either. Some fools knock 3 times on its door and listen for a reply. Many say you'll hear knocking back from the inside. Others say if you stay long enough, the barn speaks to you in your own voice, knows you, remembers you, and it's always hungry. The ground beneath it feels soft, like something is pulsing below. Some believe it's not just cursed, it's alive. The cursed barn still stands, silent by day, whispering by night. And if you ever find yourself near it, turn around. Look fast. Do not look back. 'Cause once you see what's inside, it sees you too. Story number 4: The Hollow Children of Black Hollow Road, Appalachia, USA. Deep within the mist-covered valleys of Appalachia, there lies a winding path locals call Black Hollow Road. To the outsider, it looks like any other quiet rural lane, flanked by dense woods and fog that never seems to lift. But residents know to avoid it, especially after dark, because that road belongs to something, or someone, not entirely human. The tale dates back to the early 1900s, when a local schoolhouse was built near the woods for mountain children. One winter, during a particularly harsh snowstorm, the teacher left briefly to gather firewood. She returned to find the schoolhouse empty. No footprints in the snow, no signs of struggle. The children had simply vanished. Search parties combed the forest for weeks. All they found were tiny handprints on trees, some nearly 15 feet high, and strange symbols carved into the bark. Decades passed, but stories began to surface. Travelers driving down Black Hollow Road late at night reported seeing children standing on the roadside, pale, silent, and barefoot, even in winter. Their clothes looked outdated, their eyes too dark, too hollow. If offered help, they would ask for a ride home, but those who let them in reported the air turning cold and time slowing unnaturally. One man claimed the child in his back seat whispered, "We never left," before vanishing into smoke. His car stalled for 3 hours, though he insisted it was only minutes. Another woman said she hit one of the children, only to find nothing under her wheels and the same child standing further down the road, smiling with black tears on its cheeks. Dashcams malfunction. Phones go dead. GPS reroutes endlessly. Paranormal investigators once tried staying overnight, but fled after recording laughter echoing from the trees, though they saw no one. Their equipment picked up static and the sound of many tiny feet running in circles. A hunter once followed voices into the forest and emerged 2 days later, aged by 20 years. His hair was white, his teeth missing, and he could only repeat the word empty until his death. Locals tell of the hollow children, spirits of those lost long ago, trapped between worlds. Some think they were taken by an ancient forest entity. Others claim they became something worse, feeding on attention and curiosity. Every October, strange chalk drawings appear on the road, symbols no one can translate. Some say these are invitations, others warnings. Psychics report extreme nausea near the schoolhouse ruins, now overgrown with vines. The air buzzes with static. One medium said the children are still here, but hollow inside like puppets with no souls. Vehicles passing through often lose power or hear giggling from the back seat when no one else is present. One man recorded his drive and played it back later. During one stretch, his voice was replaced with a child softly singing a lullaby. People who make eye contact with the children report nightmares that never go away. One dream repeats, standing in the woods surrounded by shadowy kids with mouths too wide and eyes that open sideways. Even during the day, the road feels wrong. Too quiet, too still. Animals avoid it. Birds don't sing near it. A preacher once tried to exorcise the land, but screamed before finishing his first verse and collapsed. He later said a small hand gripped his heart from the inside. Government maps mislabel the road, as if trying to erase it. Locals cover the signs with black tape. Visitors are warned to ignore any children seen at night. Do not stop. Do not speak. And above all, never let them in your car. Because once you do, you'll start seeing them everywhere, not just on the road. They'll appear outside your house, tapping the glass, asking to come in, smiling, waiting. Black Hollow Road is still there, untouched, unpaved, and cursed. If you ever find yourself on it by accident, drive fast. And if a child waves at you from the trees, don't wave back, because they never left. They're still looking for a teacher to lead them home. Story number 5: The Whispering Well of Eichenwald, Germany. Nestled deep in the Black Forest of southern Germany lies the forgotten village of Eichenwald, abandoned for over a century. The village is little more than ruins now, moss-covered stones and crumbling chimneys, except for one structure that still stands untouched. A well at the town center, its bricks blackened as though by fire, yet cool to the touch. This is the Whispering Well, and its legend has been passed down in trembling voices. In 1827, the town was struck by a mysterious illness. Children began sleepwalking toward the well at night, mumbling in unknown tongues. Some never returned. Those who did were changed. They stared into space, stopped speaking, and would sit for hours with their heads tilted toward the sound of water. The town priest, Father Anselm, believed the well was cursed. He tried sealing it with stone, but every morning the stones were gone. Then the whispers began. At first faint like a breeze over glass, but soon loud enough to wake people from sleep. The voices spoke in many dialects, some ancient and long dead. Those who listened too long either went mad or disappeared. One night, the entire village reportedly heard a single word echo from the well. Feed. Livestock were found piled around the well, bloodless. The ground around it turned black. Father Anselm eventually threw himself down it, leaving behind a final sermon stained with red ink that read, "It sees through the stone." After his death, more people vanished. By 1831, the village was gone. Authorities sealed the area, calling it uninhabitable. Yet hikers and thrill-seekers have found the site, drawn by curiosity or stories passed around online. A photographer who lowered a camera into the well in 2009 recorded 20 minutes of darkness, then a single frame showing an eye wide open, too large to be human. He deleted his work the next day and moved to a monastery in silence. Psychics visiting Eichenwald say the well is a gateway, not just to the underworld, but to something ancient that hungers for minds. A journalist who camped near it woke with blood running from his ears. His audio logs played back strange phrases. Water remembers, and we sleep in the deep. No rain ever fills the well. Its depth is unknown. Devices dropped in never hit bottom, and ropes come back frayed or wet with thick, black liquid. Locals avoid the forest trails near the village. Birds refuse to fly overhead. Trees grow in a perfect circle around the site, dead in the center. Government documents about Eichenwald are heavily redacted. The only readable phrase, "Do not engage auditory contact." In 2015, a group of paranormal live streamers visited the well and joked about waking the water. All 5 went missing. The stream ended with a sound of gurgling and a child's voice humming a lullaby in reverse. Their gear was found at the site, melted and warped. The well is said to call to people, especially those who've lost someone. It whispers promises, voices of loved ones, secrets from the past. If you lean too close, you'll hear something familiar. That's when it takes you. Some say the thing inside isn't evil, just lonely. Others say it's feeding slowly, one soul at a time. Stones thrown in return minutes later, etched with runes. Dreams of water become common after visiting. One hiker claimed his reflection moved without him for weeks afterward. Researchers avoid Eichenwald now. Locals put up wooden signs reading, "Vergiss nicht zu schweigen." Don't forget to stay silent. Because once the well knows your voice, it never stops whispering it back. And when it finally learns your name, you'll find yourself walking through the forest at night, drawn to a sound like weeping. The whispering well still waits, patient and hungry. And every word you hear from it is already inside you. From haunted barns to whispering wells, these countryside horrors prove that isolation can be more terrifying than any monster. Whether you believe in ghosts or not, these places are real. Their stories are Dokkum. Would you dare to visit any of these places? Or maybe you've already been near one and didn't even know it. And sometimes, the silence of the countryside hides something sinister. Don't forget to like, subscribe and hit the bell, because you never know what's lurking just outside your door. Sweet dreams. If you can sleep tonight.